I never grew up with educators that look like myself. So
100.
I feel like, honestly, like we are that new wave that make being wise, being smart, being educated cool, right?
Absolutely.
Wisdom is a powerful tool, but oftentimes we might neglect it because of who it's coming from, you feel me? But if we can chop it up with a young buck and really implant a seed, man, like it's more than just education at that point, you know?
If you was to check in, man, how has this week been for you in the squad, though, bro?
Bro, man, as always, man, I'm blessed. Just came from one of the 9 programs that we're running at Oak Park Library here in Chicago. Man, we were working with some high school and middle school students. And bro, it's never a dull moment, bro, just to see some of the young minds and see how they're thinking currently, and then being able to mold those minds. Because again, bro, the kids are the future. And if we don't properly prepare them, then it's like, man, we failed as individuals, not just as mentors, but as people in general. So I'm tremendously excited to continue doing the work, man, but I'm blessed. What about you, brother?
Nah, same as that wave, bro. Same as that wave. It's a lot of positive stuff going on. We working. Again, when it really comes to just pushing the community forward. I know we actually planning an event that's going to happen tomorrow, actually. No, Thursday. And it's in regard to financial literacy. So just educating the community, man, really empowering them and giving them a lot of skill sets in which we might not have had, you know, in the early stages. But it's all about connecting the dots, man, and being an example. And again, that's exactly what we're doing, man. But bet, I got Miss KC. I believe I figured it out. So I'm inviting her to join the tapping with us now. Miss KC, you should be good. There we go. Hey, we figured it out, man. Technology couldn't stop us.
Sure did.
For those who do not know Miss KC, one, I just got to say fire, right? That's the only emoji that would. But when I take the down-to-earth, real individual I've been able to connect with, but again, it's really in the field making an impact. James and I are doing a lot of good stuff, but right, she is a pioneer for her community, man. When it came to having a past and not really aligning with the law, to being on the other side of the law.
Come on.
Yeah, look at him. I'm trying to step every time she around. But on a serious note, she really is fire, man. We really want to introduce y'all to her. Y'all follow her. Where can I work with you, Miss Kaysia?
Kaysia Earley. That's my main page, because I also have Early Law Firm that deals strictly with the law. Kaysia Earley, like you said, diverse in the community. So one day I may be protesting, the other day I may, teaching everyone about their constitutional rights. So Kaysia Earley is more diverse. Early Law Firm is strictly the law firm.
100%. All the above. But again, what we told y'all she fired, but we about to show y'all through our So as we really dive into it, Miss Kaysia, we just want to learn a little bit more about this story. So those who don't know anything about Miss Kaysia, right? Give them that synopsis. Tell them a little bit about who you are.
Absolutely. So I am a criminal defense attorney, but for those of you who aren't familiar with my story, I was incarcerated 19 years ago. I was pregnant with my son, who just turned 18 years old. And God has truly brought me a long way, from being incarcerated while pregnant to becoming a top criminal defense attorney. And that's very rare, because once you go to law school, they have to examine you to determine whether or not you're fit to sit and be sworn into the bar. So I really took a gamble by even going to law school, knowing that I had a criminal past. But fortunately, my past indiscretions did not stop me, and I've just been on fire for my clients ever since. And of course, this past summer, I ran for judge. So I'm still in the process of evolving, and my story's not over until God says it's over.
Hey, I love that. I love. So do you think that because of your situation, that's what inspired you to want to be a criminal defense attorney?
All day, because I always wanted to be a lawyer, but I wanted to be like a PI attorney or a real estate, because I was looking at the money. But once I became a criminal and I realized that my public defender at the time not only did not fight for me, but just didn't give me the better option, didn't negotiate for me, didn't mitigate for me. I was in college. I was a first-time offender. I'm not saying that I wasn't wrong. What I'm saying is just fight for me.
Yeah.
And the fact that he didn't do that, I'm saying to myself, well, how many more people are in my position and not given a fair hand?
Yeah.
So I was like, if I ever became a lawyer, I'm going to lawyer from the heart and from experience. And what better segment or section of the law than criminal defense. And I think that's what makes me such a great attorney, because every client I have, I just instantly zoom in and pretend that either that's my brother, that's my cousin, and we're fighting beyond you being my client. And that's the only way I know how to lawyer, is from my heart.
No, that's dope. Do you think, because I know a lot of times the public defenders, they have, hundreds and thousands of cases that they're working on. So do you think it was just a numbers thing, or, that particular public defender just wasn't, equipped to help?
Okay, let me tell you this. First and foremost, I started off as a public defender. And here's why. Whenever I'm faced with a problem, I like to know and experience it. So other than me applying to these private sectors, I started off as an assistant public defender. I started off on a Thursday. I got 230 cases. I had my first jury trial that Monday, okay? I didn't get prep on how to be a lawyer, because in law school, they teach you to understand and analyze the law, but they don't teach you real life scenarios unless you're taking specific classes. So Thursday, 238 cases. Monday, I have a trial set. That whole weekend, I was like, this is an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Deadly weapon was a rock and a sock. That whole weekend, I went to work because I was like, if I lose, my client is going to jail, okay? So you are absolutely right. We have a lot of cases, and there are some good public defenders out there, because I was one of them, okay? However, I always call out those public defenders that take the oath of office and don't do right by their clients, because there's no excuse. You already know that you're signing up for a job you're going to be underpaid and overworked. So if you're signing up for it, then do your job or get another one. So that's not an excuse, okay? Because I held down all 230 of my cases.
Let's go. Hey,
let's go.
So Mika J94 asks, can you also provide for real estate closing, even though your focus is criminal defense?
Of course. So what a lot of people don't understand is when you go to law school, you're taught basically every area of law. In fact, the bar is a 2-day bar exam, 6 hours altogether. And they don't tell you which 6 subjects they're going to test you on. So because you don't know, you have to basically study all 30 or 36 topics. It's been so long that I took the bar exam. But bottom line, you learn all of the areas of law. However, I feel like if I don't practice what I love, then it's going to feel like work. So I can't stand real estate. I can't stand. The courtroom is my stage, okay? All right? I like sticking the hair back when I say objection, Your Honor, okay? So I'm a litigator. I tried 100 trials in 8 years. So I don't like real estate. I don't like wills and trusts. That's boring to me.
Okay.
So yeah.
Respect. Hey, you did a phenomenal job following your passion. And I know a lot of people, just speaking from experience myself too, there's times where that money is all we thinking about, right? And that passion is like, that's cool. We're going to be on the island thinking about our passion due to the income that come with it. So for you, what really helped you maneuver and, navigate to focus 100% on that passion and follow that, even though your past may have not aligned with that?
Well, everyone knows that I went to jail, but sometimes they don't know why I went to jail. I went to jail for embezzlement. So that's the crux. That was money. So essentially, I was discounting shoes. And because I was an employee, they said that I mismanaged the funds that I was entrusted with, because the discount for shoe was $100. I discounted it for like $50. So they lost 50% of the profit, right? So money got me in trouble and money got me locked up, okay? So after I was saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Ghost, I promised that money would never tempt me, okay? The devil wants to tempt me another way, but the Bible says for every temptation, God provides a way of escape. So what pushes me, that's why I said, when you follow your heart, the money will follow you. That's my saying for everything. So the money, you can't tempt me with money, because I'm also a personal injury attorney. I get hundreds of thousands of dollars of checks and settlement funds. I have never, not once, been tempted to do anything. In fact, normally it's 33 1/3. I know you guys heard of that. Sometimes I charge 30%. I give my clients discounts. So that money thing is not an issue, because I worked so hard for my bar license and nothing is worth it.
Yeah, that's dope, because I think that aligns a lot with the work that me and Marcus do, because a lot of times, although we're in like a mentorship role or an advocate role, like we're signing up full-time jobs with kids, because it doesn't stop when we get out of program.
Exactly.
A lot of us have our personal personal phone numbers, and they're contacting us for resources and help, sometimes even money. And it's just like, if you don't love this work, it can be mentally taxing. But you talked about having over 200 cases starting on a Thursday and then having a trial on Monday. How do you keep yourself mentally calm and ready for things like that? Because I think that if I had 200 students that needed my attention immediately, I would be freaking out. So how do you stay calm in that?
So what happened was, when I started off at the public defender's office, no one told me how to organize or learn my cases. So I had to quickly figure out, number one, how to give each client personal attention and also make sure that I was touching every case. So it got to the point where if you said a name, I knew all of my clients. All of my clients had my cell phone number. I was just a different attorney. I did things you weren't supposed to do, but it worked for me. And again, I felt like if I didn't do my job, this person is going to jail. And I live in the community that I'm representing. So I don't want to be in Publix or, supermarket one day and one of my clients who I did wrong by, come up and approach me. So I just did it from the heart,
Gotcha.
As you always should. Should. So I know about the T.R.A.P. cards, right? And we gave our young bucks the T.R.A.P. cards. They go crazy with that. For those who don't know, tell them a little bit about that.
Okay, well, T.R.A.P.S is really catching fire. 6 years later, it's not like I've just been doing this overnight, but apparently people are becoming more interested in their constitutional rights. I started this as an assistant public defender. And what I did was I was in a juvenile division, and I started realizing that these juveniles didn't know their constitutional rights. So I was trying to figure out an easy way that they could know their basic rights. And that's how I came up with the acronym T.R.A.P. And then the card evolved into, a T.R.A.P.S card to where it's the perfect size where you put it in your visor, you get pulled over, read from it. You don't even have to give the cop eye contact, right? So T.R.A.P.S essentially is T.R.A.P.S. T stands for don't get tricked. An officer will legally lie to you to obtain incriminating information. R stands for be respectful. Fighting on the side of the road is not the place. Let me do that in court. A stands for you have the right to a free attorney, everyone. And it's a public defender. Remember, they're all not bad. P stands for never get permission for an officer to search your house, car, belongings. But don't say, don't search me. Say, I don't consent to this search. And last but not least, silence is golden. If they read you your Miranda rights, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say or do will and can be used against you in a court of law. Knowing your rights, do you want to speak to me? Please say no. Please say no. So those are your basic rights. And I've given out over 30,000 cards since, I think, 2016, or maybe before then. All across America, these cards are universal. You don't have to be in Florida to apply these constitutional rights because Constitution is federal government.
Man, that's dope. Well, first and foremost, thank you for that. Because one, I know the people tapping into the live will get some value from that. But even just hearing that, I kind of consciously knew some of that, but like to actually have a card that you're able to have in your glove compartment and reference and stop. Because I know a lot of times, when you are black and brown, the second you see those lights behind you, start to panic. So tool in your toolbox is essential. So there is something currently going on with the state of Florida where there's basically a legislation that they're passing that the language is very vague. So we believe that there could be some possibility that they're trying to ban, some frats and sororities, along with some of the multicultural groups, along with the LGBTQ plus community. Talk a little bit about that. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. Well, shout out first and foremost to Howard University. That's my alma mater. And Howard University is the home, the motherland for most of these fraternities and sororities, Omega, the Qs, the AKAs, Deltas. So it's the birthplace of this unity group. Mm-hmm. And if you attack the unity, then you know that the power is then, dismantled. And that's pretty much what the crux is. They're trying to say, these fraternities and these sororities are, the home base for sexual assaults or excessive drinking. Oh, please. Yeah. You should look at some of these sororities and fraternities, especially the grad chapters. They're doing so much for the community. They're doing so much to give back. And even on the universities, So for them to pick out a few of these hazing incidents and a few of these sexual assault allegations, by the way, because if you follow these sexual allegations, sometimes they end up with these charges being dismissed.
Yeah.
They're using that as a forefront. And again, they're using fear, which is why we need diversity in the House. We need diversity in the Senate. Because when you have diversity within the House of Congress, and you have experience on an HBCU or a university, or you were a part of a fraternity and sorority, there's your chance to speak up and say, wait, that's not true. But when you have these majority white men who've never pledged before, and they hear, oh, sexual assault or violence, of course they're going to vote that way. We're going to keep getting the same results. I just think that this is a ploy to attack unity. Because with power in numbers, we are so powerful as a people. And unity is very prevalent in these fraternities and sororities. I didn't get a chance to pledge. I'm a true Jamaican. I worked like 3 jobs, okay? But I understand the impact of fraternities and sororities. So, unfortunately, it's under attack, but there's power in our voice when we vote.
Nah, definitely. And I just want to chime in there, man, being an alpha, like they got it twisted. And I would also say, I know a lot of our counterparts dabble in things a whole lot more on a larger scale, right? I stepped foot on NC State campus and I saw some stuff I know we would have never had on our campus, right? And when I asked them, why is that cool? He said, oh, well, the president, that's our brother. And I said, makes sense. So again, shoe on the other foot, you know how that goes, right? But Florida is a hot spot for a lot right? And I did a little bit of digging, but I'm hearing about the DE&I, talking about, the critical race theory, all these crazy things. And again, having a passion for the history, knowing that oftentimes in our situation with our people, we got to read a book to pick it up to do it. But now they want to ban some of these, right? They don't even want to permit that knowledge out there. And from my perspective, I think it's all from a guilt standpoint, right? Me and wife were just having a conversation. They don't want the next generation to know how hateful and how sinister those ancestors were. But I want to know a little bit more from like a legislation standpoint. Maybe you can help us get some insight on that.
You know what this again reminds me of? Sometimes I'm ashamed to be here in Florida, but then I think I was placed here to be the voice of reason and to be the voice to speak out against what I see as oppression. Because like you said, they're trying to silence us by silencing our history. You take away our history, you take away from who we are as a people. Again, it's a power strike. The critical race theory is not just talking about, racism, they're trying to put that in the forefront. It talks about sociology, the impact of what occurred to us of being oppressed as a people. And this legislation, as you said, is sometimes when you write legislation and it's vague and it's open to multiple interpretations, it gets shot down by the Supreme Court. So you're going to have to specify with definite specificity of what are you trying to ban exactly? Because when you hear from DeSantis, he may say, well, we're not going to teach hate. Well, it's not hate. We're not teaching hate. We're teaching history. So it's okay that we learn advanced placement European history, which I was in when I was in high school. There was advanced placement, every type of history. But when you talk about African-American studies, now you're talking about hate? No. I think, like you said, to me, it's if you can prevent or discredit what was done by not highlighting the past, then, get over it already. Well, how can we get over it unless we know our history? So I don't think that it'll pass constitutional tests, and it's going to be stricken down unless they specify why they don't want advanced placement history being taught in public schools.
But the fact that people are so bold to even attempt to, it says so much. And man, I was just sitting down. I was talking with wifey about this, and I was just sitting down and looking at my daughter, like, what is this world coming to? People are getting more bold than ever nowadays, man. It's crazy. But again, I'm glad we got advocates like you really sitting there, in position to back that down. But one of our viewers did tap in, and again, Mika J94 said, "What state are you licensed in? Is it only Florida?"
Yeah, right now I'm only licensed to practice law in the state of Florida. However, like I stated earlier, the constitutional rights they are applicable to all 50 states because it comes from your Second Amendment, Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, and Sixth Amendment.
Yeah, and for the listeners that don't know what DE&I is, that's diversity, equity, and inclusion, just so you guys are following us. But again, have to give you your flowers, Kaysia, because to have someone that looks like in the courtroom advocating for us, and then even just hearing the conversation about the legislation, because a lot of it is planned. Like it's systematic. Like it is an intentional attempt to make us forget where we come from. And a lot of we come from greatness. You know what I mean? And so if you can strip people of that identity, one of my mentors has a super dope quote: when identity is unknown, abuse is inevitable. And that is on the daily basis. You don't know who you are, so you allow somebody to tell you who you are. So I want to switch lanes a little bit. In the beginning, you were just talking about some of the things you're doing. I know I scrolled through your social media just trying to prepare for this, and I've seen you on CNN quite a few times. I want you to talk to our listeners about that experience, and even like, how did that come about?
Well, before I ran for judge, I used to do various appearances on Law and Crime, Court TV, and different legal shows as a correspondent. And then when you run for judge, you're confined to a bunch of rules. So I basically had to shut down my life. In fact, I could not speak about anything that was controversial. So I couldn't, if you notice, from the time I put my name in March of 2022 up until the election, March 2022, I could not speak about injustice or anything of that nature. And I started to question, like, do I really want to mute my First Amendment right to become judge? So God knows why, things happened the way it did, because I lost by 300 votes. And then right after the election, I just went right back to doing what I've been doing. And I'm versatile. I can go from being on Court TV and being that legal correspondent to rollerblading on South Beach and just being who I am. Yeah. And then in the courtroom this past week, which was one of my cases that was near and dear to my heart, I've been on this case since 2020. So had I won for judge, I would have to get off this case. 2 clients, they were facing life, 30-minute verdict, not guilty. So I can switch it up, so to speak. And I think I credit it to my upbringing, being raised in the inner city, because there's one thing that it left me, and that was resilience. It's like you can bounce back from anything that's thrown at you. And I know that we're talking about injustice, we're talking about the law and critical race theory, but one thing people don't realize, when you start speaking out against oppression, if you start to be under attack, you don't know how many DMs I've gotten from people when I talk about T.R.A.P.S, when I talk about race, or when I talk about being the only Black female in court. You got to do more than just protest after something happens. It's so much for us to do. I think people just protest when it's popular. Yeah. But I'm in the trenches every day. We need help out here.
One of our viewers, they asked, why is your First Amendment right taken away just because you want to be a judge?
That is, I'm so glad you said that, because I didn't even know until I started running for judge. It was like, hey, see, you can't say that. Because as a judge, you're supposed to be neutral. So in fact, they even stripped my voter registration. They concealed it from the public the moment I put my name in, because they didn't want people voting for me if I was, either Democrat or Republican. So they stripped everything. They want you to be neutral. So you can't talk about anything that would lean to one side or the other, because a judge is a judge of the facts and the law. And they're like a referee. So if an attorney stands up and says objection, the judge is going to make that determination on the law. So you have to be fair and impartial. So you really you can't speak out on anything.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah.
You mentioned one thing, and like I know Lil Brad. I know your son. That's my guy.
I was gonna say that too.
Yeah. You can speak on that briefly if you want, but I got some questions about it.
Yeah, so shout out to you. I was going to say that because I told him I was doing Instagram Live, and he told me to tell you how he's in training right now. Yeah. Give him 2 years, he's going to be in the NFL, okay? From my mouth to God's ears. But I appreciate you, because there were times that I would call him. He's like, no, Mom, I'm in a meeting. Or he was in a chat or whatever you were doing. I'm like, for you to reach my son from a total different state, it shows your heart and your passion for the youth, because y'all connected one time and then you continue to foster that. So I appreciate you, because you said, I'm doing it from the heart. Let me give you your flowers back, okay? You're doing it from the heart, and it's how you relate to the young kids that you make it fun. Because one time he was on the phone for like 2 hours. I'm like, son, are you still on the phone? So when he shut shut me down and that's my firstborn, and you captured his attention because he loved his mama, okay?
Yeah.
So I want to thank you for what you all are doing for the youth. Don't stop. Don't stop. Continue to feed into our youth. So thank you.
Nah, I appreciate it. That's my dog. He's special, man. He's special. But y'all don't know him, man. Y'all got to check his latest mixtape, his album.
Yeah.
He rap, he ball, he has straight A's. Yo,
yes.
He's solid. He's solid. And again, that's our passion, man. That's why James and I were able to connect and collaborate. It's the youth, man. They're our future. And we do this. Just like you so sincere and genuine hearted, and that's your why. This is our why. This is our North Star, the next generation.
Amen.
You generation, we doing it. We doing it in 2 different lanes, but we doing it though, right?
Yes.
What it's all about. But you're really a superwoman, right? You got a lot going on. You do a lot. And we always talk about being able to multitask and things of that nature. I want to talk a little bit more about like family support. You got a lot going on, right? And you have a solid backbone. And I want to talk about how valuable that is and how you've been able to really leverage that, propel yourself that much more.
Well, it would be remiss of me if I didn't give my husband of almost 20 years a big shout out. I pretty much walked down the aisle. He was the one that took me to jail and picked me up, right? So he was the one that was with me when I thought I could never be anything after getting out of jail. Got married when I was 9 months pregnant with my son that you now communicate with. So I really have to thank him because he's been my rock. When I was in law school and still holding down a full-time job and still taking care of 3 kids at the time, I got 4. He's just been my everything. And then also my relationship with Christ. I rededicated my life in the prison walls. And I've never stopped my relationship and just having that relationship with Christ. And then my heart for the people. I really feel that God gave me a second chance. And because of that, I will never stop giving back. I represent, even as a top attorney, if I get a call and I really feel that person is innocent based on the facts and evidence, and they cannot afford me, there's been times that I've waived attorney fees, taken pro bono cases. I will never be too big for my people because I feel like I shouldn't even be a lawyer. I've been given a second chance. So in addition to, being on TV and handling my law practice, and I also work for the federal government and then having 4 kids and having a marriage, I'm also working on a project about my life and other projects about my journey from God's house, jailhouse, courthouse, to be continued. So it is a lot. It's a full plate, but God's given me the strength. Stay tuned.
It's that wonderful how that works out. We have several quotes that, Marcus will tell anybody, I'm the quote guy. I'm the quote guy. And the first thing that I think of is you can't have a testimony without a test. But I am.
Come on.
And go look at it. And what I'm hearing now is, although you had some adversity, you turn that adversity into something beautiful. The second quote was, "In every adversity is the seed of equal or greater benefit." So I feel like that.
Text me that. I like that one.
I got you.
Seriously.
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you after the call. But man, like what you're talking about is a testimony in itself, like coming from someone who is incarcerated, finding God while being in those 4 walls, and then not just stopping there. Because a lot of times people will find God and they just go do their own thing.
Yeah.
But the compassion, the passion in itself to become a servant, and that's just phenomenal. So again, we love giving flowers on this show. So I want to give you your flowers because you definitely earned them and deserve them.
I appreciate that, but I want to give you a quick story about my incarcerated clients because some of the people that I represent, they're incarcerated pre-trial. This is before their trial. Either they can't bond out, or here in Florida, which I believe they should get rid of bond requirements, unless it's a murder charge. Yeah. But some of my clients are incarcerated waiting for trial. And when I first see them, they look at me like, who is this chick? She ain't gonna get me out of jail. Yeah. And then in order for me to bring that wall down, I share my story about my incarceration because I don't want them to think I'm better than you. I was there with you. And the moment I share my story, it's like a weight of release. I've had hardcore criminals cry in front of me. I pray for all my clients, and they're not criminals. I call them the accused because every last one of my clients, I don't care if he was caught on video tap dancing and shouting at the name on surveillance camera, you still innocent, okay? Because there's a way I can get that camera, that footage may not come in due to a technicality. But at the end of our meetings, we always pray. And I never forget this one client, I forgot to pray for him. And I came back and saw him the next week. And he said, Miss Earley, I got a bone to pick with you. And I'm like, I was ready. I was like, well, pick it. And he was like, Miss Earley, you didn't pray for me before you left. And I'm like, why you ain't say nothing? Yeah. But my whole time, I'm like, I didn't even really think they really listened to my prayer because they never really said anything other than amen. But when I tell you that touched me, when you're incarcerated, all you need is hope. You want someone to just either fight for you, believe in you, or pray for you because nothing else matters. Yeah. So I feel like God allowed me to go through what I went through, to have empathy. And I just know everything was set up for such a time as this. This is why I have so much joy in my heart because I shouldn't even be a lawyer. Yeah. So you want to see more of Kaysia because I'm not playing with the system. Yeah. That part.
I love it. I always say, man, oftentimes people pray for things, but then when they're going through the trenches, they're asking God why, not knowing that was a part of the prayer.
Yes.
Right? I'm trying to tell you, like life is about peaks and it's about valleys. And the peaks humble you when you're in the valleys and vice versa. You feel me? So, like, that's so beautiful. And for you to be able to share your story, again, because, like, man, just put myself, young black man, in position. The court system, man, the system, we don't trust. You know what I'm saying? So to see somebody who look like us, who been where we are and has overcame, yo, you're that light, you're that hope. You feel me? And again, even in our realm, like that's our goal is to be the template, right? To show them, right? We not just talking your ear off. I'm gonna show you how I did it. I'm gonna give you the game. I'm gonna meet you where you are, and that relatability is what allows us to thrive in our roles as well. And sharing that story, man, telling some of my young bucks about the first time I got handcuffed,
right? And
why it would happen again. You know what I'm saying? So, in order for you to talk to somebody, you got to understand and know where they came from, and you do just that. So again, I love it as always, man. I want to again just get out the listeners an opportunity to one, ask questions, and two, where can they tap in with you? What do you have coming out next, so we can make sure we're pushing your way.
Okay, so you can follow me on Kaysia Earley on Instagram or KaysiaEarley.com. That's my website for bookings and anything that you want to know. The main thing is what's coming up next. Like I said, I am working on some projects. I do have more clients that I need to get out of jail because we're not playing with the system, like I said. But I really want to have a way to tell my story. Every time I go on these speaking engagements, people always say, when's the book coming out? Right now, I'm not thinking about a book. I'm just thinking about, let me get these people out of jail. So once I have time to really sit down, I do want to do that. And then, if I do become judge, if that's in God's plan, whether it's in the courthouse or on TV, stay tuned. I'll tap in with y'all to do the big reveal, okay? Yeah. Okay. She said it on this show on this day. But it's a lot. I'm all about my community. I have, like I said, T.R.A.P.S have been gaining steam here in Florida for some reason. So I've been doing a lot of speaking engagements about T.R.A.P.S. So I look forward to doing that. And
I want to ask you something real quick. I saw you with Kodak. Mm-hmm. What else I see you with? I know I see you with Kodak, man. Tell us a little bit about before we hop on.
So my colleague, Kodak, bless his heart, he's innocent until proven guilty too. So my colleague represents Kodak, and I was in court that day that he was there, but I was really there because the prosecutor was taking too long on Kodak's case, and I just walked in and like, yo, come on, Kodak, listen, we have a case that's going on, but I don't represent him, but I do work. His attorney is my colleague, so it's funny because I had my client with me, and I said, "You want to see Kodak real quick?" He's like, "Yeah." He said, you for real? Like, come on. So it was really for my client to see him, but he's a great artist, and I just hope that he stays out of the criminal justice system. I'll say that.
So dope, man. Again, it's so refreshing to see a Black woman in this arena because from my experience, it's tools and fews of you, but to see someone that's having an impact and doing the work and truly loving it, you kind of give me the vibes of what's that lady's name, Viola Davis and How to Get Away with Murder. Like that's the type of vibe I get it from.
Listen, that's what you're gonna get if you in my courtroom, and listen to my closing arguments because I really just break it down to the jury. I don't speak all that legal stuff. Sometimes I elevate my voice. I say some things sarcastic, but bottom line, I want to get in your heart. So when you come back, it's going to be a not guilty verdict. I say it with so much confidence, but you said something that I don't even think you realize, that there's only 2% of Black female lawyers, especially criminal defense attorneys. So we are like very few. And with all of my accolades being named top attorney in Florida, there's still a time I could walk in the court and the judge, if I've never practiced before him, he'll think I'm a victim or he'll think I'm the clerk. And I had to check this one judge. I was like, no, you're not talking to me because I'm the lawyer. She's like, only lawyers beyond this point, like, shoot, get away. You know what I'm saying? So we still got to deal with that. And we still got to deal with the fact that, they don't think that if you look a certain way, they think lawyers are supposed to look shrumpy and dumpy. No, we walking up in there looking fly too. So it's we got to deal with all of that, those biases that Black females aren't lawyers, because it's not a lot of us. So we got to increase that number too.
Yeah. We talk about all the time, you got to redefine the norm. You got to redefine the norm. It should be standardized, right? Not that old picture you got in your mind. We got to redefine that. And again, you're doing that. You know what I'm saying? And the goal is to kick open the door so that the floodgates come behind us. You feel me?
Yes.
For real. Again, flowers to everybody, bouquets going around, man. Let's continue to grow and flourish together. And ultimately, that's what this is all about. That's why we started Let's Grow Together, man. And again, continue to push, build our community and our culture and push us going forward, man. So, James, what you got to say for the people as we kind of close out, good brother?
Man, first I want to read Miss Anya Graham said, she's one of the best people you'll ever meet. So, again, flowers being given to Miss Kaysia. And, man, I everybody for tuning in and being a part of this conversation, whether you sent a message or you're just listening in, because we do appreciate it. Please make sure that you follow Miss Kaysia. You follow Mastermind_Marcus. You follow A Greater Good Foundation on IG. You follow podcast page, which is Let's Grow Together Pod. And man, you can get our podcast everywhere you find podcasts, but man, just let's continue to grow together and build together, because that's all we really got, man. And one of my brothers, or one of the brothers we interviewed, Isaiah Withers, he said, "We stronger as a fist than we are as fingers," and that stuck with me. So let's continue to build, man. Let's continue to move forward and be the change that we wish to see in the world.
I want to take that quote too. Send me that one too.
I'm telling you, that quote guy, he gonna get you right. But we learning a lot from y'all too, man. That's why Let's Grow Together is mutual, right? We point in game, we sowing in game, we getting game. But we did have a comment real quick, man. And brother said, being located in Florida, do you have to represent many non-English speaking Hispanics?
I actually do, and I get them interpreters, and we get it done. I did a whole trial. I didn't understand a word my client said, but I knew he was innocent, and I had the interpreter right there, and we interpreted the entire trial. So yes, me hablo poquito español, but I will get those clients. Okay,
hey, Ms. K, you need to write the book. You already talk about the book. You need to give a speech on being solution oriented. That is what.
I told you, growing up in the inner city, I tell people all the time, don't let the ESQ fool you, okay? We make $1. I grew up dirt poor. My mother, 8 kids, single. I grew up in the inner city. There's no inner than where I grew up at. So for me, I'm literally that rose that grew out of busted concrete, not that freshly paved concrete. So I'm not making it work, okay? And then I know how to. Good morning, Your Honor, Kaysia Earley, here on behalf of such and such client on page 4 of Your Honor's docket. You got to learn how to turn it on and turn it off. Come on now, stop playing with me.
Man, that's how you get there, man. Another quote I love is being close enough to relate but far ahead enough to inspire. And you have been super inspirational to our listeners.
This man right here with them quotes. Excuse me. No, you think I'm joking, Marcus. I really love quotes, okay? So if you go, I have 3 Instagram pages. My third one is Early Inspirations. And that's nothing but just inspirational quotes, okay? And I always find a foundation, which is scripture to add onto it, because I feel like there's nothing new under the sun. So when you say these things, like I'm really loving you right now, okay? That's not even a joke. That's my new best friend right there. Okay. So you got a homework assignment. Send me those 3 that you just said. Stop playing.
Man,
we go.
a notebook right here that say ideas are crap unless they're acted upon. So I'm gonna make sure that I write this down so I can get it over to you.
Yes.
Everybody,
Yes.
the handheld James in their pocket. They'd be charged up. That's the battery right there.
Who you telling?
Hey, but family, we had a great time rapping with y'all. We're going to be doing this again, man. Nothing but positive feedback. And again, make sure y'all tap in with KC. If y'all didn't get the first, the second time, Miss KC again. Where can they tap in with you at?
Kaysia Earley, KaysiaEarley. That's my Instagram. That's also KaysiaEarley.com. That's my website. All things, new announcements, it's going to go on there first. And it was an absolute pleasure to talk to you both. Thank you for allowing me to share my story and to be continued because the story's not over.
I love
Pleasure connecting with you. Hopefully we do something soon.
Of course. Listen, we locked in. Seriously. Now, Marcus could tell you, anytime he calls on me, I don't care how busy. I told him I'm in Key West. Didn't I tell you that?
Yeah.
Okay. I shut the whole vacation down. I was like, we eating dinner after 9 o'clock. Okay. For you. Okay. So thank you. It is love. Seriously. I thank you for what you do for my son because like y'all connect with him before he hit the NFL in Jesus' name.
I got you. I got you.
Okay.
Out there. I got you.
Let me give him a shout out for his Instagram, @thereal_J.A.E. So @thereal_J.A.E. Y'all follow him, okay? Because that's a positive young man.
I tell you, that's a powerful young brother. But again, thank y'all sincerely for y'all time and energy, family. We'll be doing this again. And as always, man, we are Let's Grow Together. Tap in with us. Y'all be blessed, family.
Peace. Peace.